Well, here we are again with another part of the rebuild. Well, almost done. That being the drive shaft from the bell housing and the clutch to the gearbox, and the lever and the rod to activate the mechanism for the clutch fork. I just got to hook that up now and give it a go. But yeah, what we've got is a slide or slot with a gate that see, I've blocked the front one off there, but that'll come back like that, click in and hold the clutch in a disengaged position, so the yeah, like so. What I'll do on that gate is put something in there so you can disengage the clutch as you're coming into a bank. Obviously you can slow down with the throttle, but if you find yourself just short of the bank or whatever, where you can, as you're coming in, you just let the clutch off and engage the gearbox and via the prop shaft and going a little bit further. Otherwise you've got to come in with the ignition switch and yeah, turn it off and then keep starting it to come in, or just career into the bank and hit it, and that'll soon stop you. But yeah, it's a bit of a mission to get all that hooked up with working out the pivots. You can see that one there, I've had a couple of goes at it. When I first did it, it was all up too high off the floor, and the rod actually come back on the angle because I had the rod hooked up to there, which meant that yeah, it was coming across the floor on an angle, so it took up too much area. So I put that outrigger on it, and yeah, now this rod comes along the square with the boat down the center, well, not down the centre line, but yeah, it doesn't take up half the floor. That rod's only about 50 mil off the floor, but what I'll be doing is putting a aluminium floor across the top of it with carpet on it, so when you get in the boat you can stand on that rather than trying to jiggle around and get your feet in between that to get into the seats and whatever. So, but you see that gearbox is polished up, and then it'll have a stainless steel plate on the front of it here with a cover over that whole drive shaft there, so you don't get tangled up in it. It'll have a couple of loops around it to just in case something flies apart on it, but those CV joints are less prone to fly apart than what a uni joint is. And the reason I went with them was because they'll take up to a 50 degrees angle and still work alright, whereas the uni joint will only take, well, about 10 degrees, something like that, maybe a little bit more. When I got the boat, it had the uni joints on it, and there was that much angle that the heads of the cap head screws were hitting on the uni joint, and you sort of got to wonder how things don't fly apart on some people. And then you think, well, that's why they do fly apart. But yeah, it's definitely filling up in the cockpit area with the battery, and it never had a bell housing on it when I got it. It just had direct drive, so. But I put the bell housing, clutch and everything, made up a output shaft for it, did the splines, and actually jacked the back of the motor up a little bit, well, which is the front of the motor, but at the back of it, to decrease some of that angle here. Obviously they're all new engine mounts and everything I put in it, but yeah, that clutch mechanism all seems to work pretty good. Well, it does what it's supposed to do anyway. Lock in there, and then pull that back, and yeah, it disengages the clutch, so perfect. But yeah, time we got all that in there, then we got the trim pedal there for the cab plate. Got the override pedal up the front there. That still needs the arm hooked onto it, obviously, so it stands up a bit more. I have had the throttle hooked up to the carby, but since taken it off because I've got a few bits and pieces that I'm still going to put on there, but you know, you got to mock these things up to see if they're going to work all right. And yeah, it seems to do that quite well. But anyway, that's where we are at the moment. But, I mean, the next thing is to finish all that off. Like I say, got to weld up all the bits and pieces, polish a bit of stuff up, weld up the shaft on it, put all the proper bolts in it, put the loops on it, and put a cover over it, fill in that part of the floor, seats. Yeah, it's sort of not too far off really, but these things take time. Then the next thing will be to I put a couple of bars on the side of the seat here to get in and out. I mean, there's that much stuff here that I'm not the most manoeuvrable person. Need something to grab hold of to be able to get out of it. I mean, it's alright in the shed here because you can grab the bits and pieces up there to heave yourself out, but out on the water it's going to be a bit different. But yeah, I'll probably make something at the back of the seat, something on the side here that you can grab hold of to get out, because, wow, you've got that lever, the gearbox, the drive shaft, everything to sort of negotiate around to get out of it. Anyway, I'm sure we'll be able to knock something up there. Come this far, so I'm not going to stop now. Anyway, that's about it for now. Till next time.